recapping the first round, guys, I thought it'd be fun to ask you some very important questions from round number one, shall we?
Okay, let's do it.
All right, the first question, the most impressive team for you in the first round. EJ, why don't you start us off?
I think to me, it had to be Colorado because the series started with that crazy 7-6 loss in Winnipeg, and then they just dismantled the Jets in the next 4 games. And the Jets had such a good regular season, and Connor Hellebuyck had such a good year, and boy, it all went up in smoke, and I think a lot of it was just the Avs were that good. So the Avs were the most impressive team to me.
I'm going to go to the Eastern Conference. I'm going to the Florida Panthers because last year they kind of snuck in and it seemed like everything was gravy on the ride to the final. Well, this year they went in as the #1 seed. They held form against their state rival and were able to do it in fairly convincing fashion. So it's a different situation when you kind of sneak in than when you are the favorite going in as the favorite. So Florida, for me, first round most impressive team.
All right, well, can't argue with either one of those, certainly not.
Hey, that could be the final.
There you go. Oh, gosh,
that
yes,
could
you're
easily
right.
be the final.
You are very right about that. All right, let's move on to the most disappointing team in round number one.
Well, I'll build on the Avalanche. I'll say the Jets only because the Jets had such a good regular season, and they won the first game 7-6, and it's not disappointing that they didn't win the series because at the end of the day, the Avalanche are blessed with 2 of the best players in the league when you talk about McKinnon and Makar. And then you throw in Rantanen and Nichushkin, and the list goes on and on. But they just didn't seem to be able to have any way to fight back in the series after that, and they ended up losing in 5 games. So that was disappointing to me. I thought the Jets, I thought that series would go longer and be more competitive, and in the end, the Avalanche just took the fight out of the Jets.
I'm going to Toronto because Toronto looked at this Boston team that had beaten them so many times previously, and they said, okay, there's no Bergeron, there's no Krejci there. We've got
There's
our guys.
just other demons we have to get through.
There's other demons we have to fight through. But we got Reeves, and we got Domi, and we got Bertuzzi, and we got more grit. We're going to be able to play a different style of game, and the same things that have haunted them in the 8 previous seasons came back to haunt them again. Goaltending at some points questionable. Woll started to get on a roll, then he's hurt. You got the injuries with Matthews and you know, and Nylander missing some games. So for me, probably the most disappointing because I think Toronto felt like it had a different buzz going into this playoffs.
We're going to handicap the Leafs as their clean-out day happened. We'll talk about that coming up in a moment. But how about a standout player for the first round?
I'm going to go with Wyatt Johnston. I mean, he was, I mean, that was the best series. And in key moments, Wyatt Johnston, I mean, there it is right there. I mean, he doesn't score that goal in Game 3.
It's over.
The Vegas Golden Knights might go on and they might sweep that series. Who knows? That got them back in it, winning Game 3, and then he ended up with a big goal in Game 7. And the thing that I would point to, Sam, we talked about it in the meeting. In the dying seconds last night, they're protecting a 1-goal lead. They're not looking to score there. They're looking to protect Peter DeBoer. Who does he? That's when you know who the coaches trust.
Oh, yeah.
He had young Wyatt Johnston, the 20-year-old Wyatt Johnston out there to help protect that lead. You see the numbers in the series for Johnston. To me, I thought he was outstanding.
I got to go with Cale Makar. I'm continually amazed by watching this guy. He's next level. This goal that he scores in Game 4 was ridiculous. I mean, he kind of has a bit of a fortuitous bounce at the blue line. Next thing you know, he's got control of it. 2 or 3 Winnipeg Jets are missing. He goes around, and then he comes in across the line, goes to his right, goes against the grain to the far side. Like, that is, you know, who does that? Yeah. So 9 points in the first round, really impressive stuff for this guy. So looking forward to seeing more Cale in round.
Who does that? Maybe Bobby Orr used to do that. There aren't. Sure. He is when all is said and done. If Cale Makar stays healthy, he is going to be in the very, very elite of defensemen who have ever played this game.
That's remarkable. Yeah, he deserves it. All right, how about the best moment from the first round?
Oh, boy, the best moment. I'm going to go with Saturday night with Pastrnak. I know Leaf fans, it was not the best moment for Leaf fans, for sure, for all those in Maple Leaf Square. But I just think it was Saturday night. It was Game 7. It was overtime. The building erupts in joy there in Boston. I just think all the drama in that series, Sam, you alluded to it. You know, they started the series, no Nylander. He played all 82 games. He's out for the first 3 games, mysterious absence. He came back. Matthews was sick and then hurt. He missed some time. The Bruins had a lead, and then Toronto was kind of fought back in the series, and Joe Woll is hot. Then Joe Woll is out. Yeah. I mean, it was just, there was all kinds of drama two great original six markets there in Boston and Toronto, and to culminate there in Game 7 overtime with Pastrnak scoring, to me, that was the moment.
Catherine, you were there. You put some miles on the shoes.
I did.
My favorite is the Nashville game. They're
That was
up
crazy.
by
That
2.
was
There's about
crazy.
3 minutes left. Besser gets 2 goals. The NHL's been tracking 6-on-5 goals for about 15 years. Jonathan Toews did it with Chicago in the playoffs, actually. And Besser's the only other player to get 2 6-on-5 goals to tie the game. And then you're thinking, all right, well, Nashville can still overcome. They're at home. In a minute 2, next thing you know, it's over.
It's over.
Like, a 3-minute swing completely changed that game and maybe even the series.
Yes.
You know, Nashville comes back, they're feeling a little more confident. I give them credit for coming back to win the next game, but man, that was crazy.
Yeah.
That's playoff hockey.
You know
Amazing.
you know who's got the hardest job then? The sideline reporter.
Yes.
Because they have to go from one area.
Thank you
to
for
the next
mentioning
area.
that. It was super awkward when TNT told me go get Roman Yossi for the post. Sure, 6.2 seconds
Yeah,
on the
what could-
clock.
what could happen?
What could go wrong? And then it was one of those like, I'm just gonna slink away. Bye Nashville. I have to go to Vancouver now. It was not fun. But that's what happens in a split second. You know, the game changes and you go from interviewing one star to I went over and got Brock Besser.
What was it like for you being right at ice level while that was happening?
Well, you could feel the air coming out of the arena, no
Yeah.
question. You know, you felt the energy. I mean, the fans were on their feet because it was
Yeah.
so, seconds winding down on the clock, and they think that this game is theirs. And, now you've got an even series going back to Vancouver, a totally different landscape.
Yeah.
And then boom, boom. I mean, and then you just felt it. You felt the momentum on Vancouver side coming out for that overtime period. It just,
crazy.
and the fans were definitely, nervous then at that point. But yeah, it's you feel it. You feel the air suck out of
It would have been a more fun experience if it had been the home team, right? 'Cause
Yeah.
then the place
Yes,
would
that
have
would've
gone
been nice.
bonkers, right? But it's weird when it happens to the home team. It's just so.